I'm out here at the steer pasture this morning, or I guess it's not really morning anymore. I've been spending my entire morning running around, getting supplies, doing irrigation, all the normal stuff. But now we're out here, I've got to move the steers. I'm sure there's a couple sprinklers that need to be fixed, and we'll see what other kind of trouble we can get into. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. I think we need to drain that. While the water's filling up, we'll run and get the steers and then see if we can find some broken sprinklers. I know there's at least one out here. There's probably more though. I feel like last year at this time, I had those steers trained to come to the gate when I call them to move. These guys are not quite there yet, and I'm not sure if it's because since there's fewer of them, they don't go through the feed as fast, so when I come to move them, they're really not hungry, or they just simply haven't got it yet. I'm not sure, but they at least, when I start pushing on them, they go straight for the gate. I don't have to chase them all over the pasture. So I think we're making progress, baby steps, but hey, maybe today will be the day that they come when I call them. Come on, boys! Come on, boys! I guess today's not the day. Come on, boys! They're looking at me, that's about it. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Well, I should have known. Whenever I said they go straight for the gate, today would be the day they wouldn't. Go to the gate. You know where it is. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, guys. You too. Well, there you go. They're not the best at moving pastures, but they're certainly not the worst. It is a one-man job, and that's not always the case. I think we might have found it. Certainly looks broken. Well, they really got this one, folded the stake over, even broke part of the striker. I wonder if maybe the mower didn't hit this, because the damage is not really consistent with what a steer can do. All right, what other problems can we find? Broken sprinklers are mainly only an issue in the field that the steers were just in. The sprinklers don't break themselves by themselves. So if I can find the broken sprinklers out here, then I can be relatively sure that this pasture will be all right. But another issue that I got to keep an eye out for is this. This sprinkler should be greening up a lot of this area here, and it's not. It's only just a little patch right here, which tells me that this one's plugged, and it's been plugged for a while. So sometimes it can be difficult to unplug these while they're not running, because whatever is plugging up the orifice will fall back down into the main line. But I'm gonna take the sprinkler head off and just see what it looks like in there. There might be something at the surface that we can take out of there. Oh, I think the camera won't see it, but yeah, this thing is full of junk. Okay, so try to go in from the orifice side and sort of get this wire down in there. There's a bunch of garbage in there. There's your problem. That ain't all. There we go. What happens is, because this is the last sprinkler in the line here, if there's any sand or any sediment that comes in through the irrigation water, that's all gonna settle down here at the end, and then the water often will force that up into the sprinkler. So a lot of times your clogs, like that what we just had here, which was sand and silt, those are gonna be the last sprinkler at the end of the line because of that reason. Looks like we got another winner. I'm afraid we've got an elusive missing sprinkler head. I'll see if I can find this thing. There it is. Got it. I didn't actually even see this. I stepped on it and felt it. I think that's that. Oh boy. Still friends? Still friends? Still friends? That's 2203. This is actually the biggest steer in the group. And he likes to be scratched, don't you? Alright. I gotta go. I was here too long because all the sprinklers you guys broke. A lot of people ask why don't I bring some cows out here, and that's actually something that I've been considering. I bet I could bring about 10 cows and calves plus a bull out here, and this pasture would carry them through the summer, plus the harvest steers as well. But the reason that I haven't done that yet, and why I'm not thinking that I probably will do that anytime soon, is just because there's really no sort of working corral or loading corral here. If you guys have been with the channel for a while, you've seen how I have to load these guys out of here, and it's not pretty. If I had a nice working corral here where I could load cattle out and doctor them if need be, then I wouldn't have any problem bringing cows and calves out here. But as it is, there really is no corral, only the little makeshift panels that I can set up. So we just kind of got what we got. These are the considerations that you have to keep in mind when you're renting properties like this. The perimeter fencing here is really good. The irrigation is good. The water is good. So in that regard, this pasture is really nice. But when it comes to a working corral, we just don't have one. Back home now, I ended up spending a lot more time at the steer pasture than I'd planned on. I spared you guys and did not film every single sprinkler that I had to fix over there, but man, there were a bunch. Since I got hung up down there a little bit longer than I planned on, I'm not gonna have time to do a few of the other things that I was planning on today, which should come as no surprise. But there still are a few things that need to get done, so let's go do them. Open the door for you. Get in. Before we run out into the field and take care of the must-do items, I know several people had asked about the chicks that I had alluded to getting, and yes, we do have them. I didn't film unboxing them that morning just because I was in a hurry and had places to be, but they are here in the brooders now. We've got 5 turkeys and what do we got? Somewhere around 20 chicks. I actually got 6 turkey chicks or poults in the order, and we did lose one, but the reason for that was because one of my heat lamps burned out in the middle of the night, and I guess they all must have piled on top of each other in the corner because that's where it was when I found it. But the 5 that remain here seem to be doing pretty well. I don't remember the name of the breed of these turkeys. I know that they're not heritage breeds. They are the white, you know, gigantic ones, kind of like, I think of it as the Cornish cross equivalent in a turkey. Our chicks, on the other hand, we ended up getting 10 barred rock and 10 Rhode Island red. And you might notice that one of these chicks looks nothing like any of the others. That is an American Bresse that I got from my friends Sidney and Tory in Texas. Their channel is called The Naked Gardeners. They actually sent us like 24 or 26 eggs to incubate, but I think I must have had incubator issues because I only got 2 to hatch, and then one of the ones that did hatch died a couple days later. This is the only one that survived, and it seems to be doing really well. So I'm gonna have to figure out what was going on with my incubator to cause that to happen. I was really excited about getting some American Bresse because not only are they good egg layers, but the meat is really good as well. And you could actually breed and incubate and hatch your own meat birds and layers. It's kind of a do-all breed. So I might have to end up buying another dozen eggs or so from them to get my own little flock started. But for now, this is what I've got. If you would like to get your hands on American Bresse chicks, I will leave some contact info for Sidney and Tory in the description below. You can hit them up and see about getting them. Well, that's a little problem. So apparently the cows got to rubbing down here and they broke off this breather riser pipe, I guess you would call it. What this is this is the end of my line of irrigation valve. So the way my irrigation system works is when I click the pump on, it pulls water up out of the ground, and we have an underground line with valves along the top end of the field. These fields are sloped slightly so that the water drains the way that we want it to. And at the end of those lines, you have these breather pipes. This riser pipe will be like taller than, you know, let's say like 8 feet tall. And when the pump is running and I'm irrigating in this field, the water will be, you know, up at like, let's say 6 feet, and that puts pressure on the line. Anyway, that's why we can't have it short like this, because when I turn the pump on, the water is just going to come out of the pipe. So we need to fix it because I need to get the water started out here tonight. And really, this is just like fixing a giant sprinkler. Well, I've got a bit of a problem. The coupler that I bought is the wrong size. I think this is low head pipe, and the coupler that I bought must not be. Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened, but I really need to get this fixed, and I don't have time to run back to town to get the right piece. So I'm gonna have to get a little creative. What I'll end up doing is I'll cut some vertical slits in this pipe and then in the rest of the riser pipe so that I can pinch it down a little bit and fit it into that coupler. Just put a bunch of glue on there and it should hold. Yeah, will fit. We got a ways to go. So the new plan is this, because cutting the vertical cuts in that riser pipe, it didn't allow it to shrink enough to fit on this coupler. So here's what we're gonna do, as ashamed as I am to admit this. I've put a cut in the new coupler that will allow it to spread a little bit, and that way it will fit around the original riser pipe. Now we're left with this gap here, so I cut a piece off of the old broken coupler, and we're gonna glue that on in the gap and use hose clamps to hold it all together. Look, I know this isn't the right way to do things, and this probably will leak, which doesn't matter because we'll have the valve open anyway, so, you know, it's just more water to water that we're already putting down. And I often say that, you know, this is a temporary fix and I'll come back and fix it properly. I really believe I mean it on this one, because I don't really like doing it this way, but with the pieces and the parts that I have on hand, this is the best I can do. That's not a good sign. Well, the camera shut off. GoPros have a tendency of doing that, especially, you know, when you're trying to get a shot. But you didn't miss much. This, you know, as ugly as it looks, I think it'll work, at least in the time being. And I'm done with this. If it breaks, it breaks. If it works, it works. I'm moving on to the next job. And after reading the comments on the dry pour cement video, I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about this. Originally, my plan with the fly sprayer was to just leave it on these front two pastures, and that would make it a lot easier for me to move it from one gate to the other. I think part of my disadvantage is that when they go down to the back field, they don't see this thing for a week. So when they make it back up into the middle field and I want them to walk through it again, we kind of have to like redo some training to get them back to the point that they were at. So I've decided that at least until they're used to it, I'm gonna put it up down here in the backfield as well, so that they can just never get away from it, and they'll get nice and used to it, nice and broke to it, and they won't think twice about walking through this thing anymore. I've got a live hot wire coming up to this side of the cow sprayer, and then this wire on the other side is just a dummy wire, so hopefully they don't figure that out. But I'm just gonna leave this off and let them walk through it all week, and then when we move it back up into the corral, I think I'll try to turn the spray back on. I think one of the mistakes that I was making with this, and the reason why I was having trouble, is that I had these trip arms too far back, so that when the cattle walked through it, or when they were sniffing it and messing with it, and they would accidentally set it off, it would spray them in the face. And then that would cause them to sort of jump back, and then they didn't want to walk through it anymore. Now I've got the arms up further, so they have to be standing further through this thing to reach and sniff these, and when they do accidentally trip them, then the spray hits them behind the shoulders, and it'll just kind of prompt them to go right on through it. About half of them don't mind it and don't even mind getting sprayed by it, and about half of them do. So I'm trying to win over that other half this week, and I'm hoping that if I just stay consistent with it, never really give them an option to not walk through it, that eventually they'll become broke to it. Well, as you can see, we've still got some training to do. I think I'm just gonna take off and let them get used to the idea. They're just, cattle are funny this way. They've been walking through this thing for weeks now, but now that I've put it in a different spot, it's like they gotta get used to it all over again. So we'll give them some time and come check on them in a little bit. It took them a little while, but they all finally made it. Cattle are very cautious, and they need to think about things a lot before they take the plunge. And I think that if I just keep putting incentive on the other side of that cow sprayer, it'll encourage them to walk through it, and pretty soon they'll realize that it's not a big deal. I messed up because I had them walking through it pretty good, and then I turned the spray on a little bit too soon. I think I should have let them get more broke to it before I did that, and now I'm paying the price and kind of having to like start this process over again. In the future, I am going to do an entire video about breaking cows to the cow sprayer, so that if anyone else ends up buying one of these things, they'll have a good roadmap to go by, because nothing really exists like that right now. So we're kind of in new territory. I guess that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.